Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2021 Campaign Leaders Conference. We are all so excited that you're here today. We are going to do a lot this afternoon. You are going to be able to learn more about the work that you and your teams make possible throughout our community. You're going to get tools and information to help you run great campaigns. You're going to get to meet our 2021-2022 campaign chair and absolutely get energized and inspired, which we may all need an extra dose of after the last 18 months, and we will definitely do that today. We know that it has been a really challenging year and a half, really, for all of us, and especially so for our friends and neighbors across Greater Houston who are struggling to make ends meet before the pandemic and its economic repercussions, and most recently, the February winter storm. Even in the face of all of the challenges of the last year plus, there have been a lot of great things happening. With your help, we were able to connect 1.4 million of our neighbors with critical information and resources through 211. 49,650 families gained greater financial stability through our Thrive program. 172,000 people were able to get health care. 13,000 young people had safe, enriching after-school programs, and another 14,000 young people got to connect with mentors. And on top of all of that, in addition to figuring out how to run virtual campaigns on the fly and helping raise almost $56 million as part of the United Way community campaign, you all stepped up and helped raise $18 million for the Greater Houston COVID-19 Recovery Fund and another $17 million for the Houston-Harris County Winter Storm Relief Fund, both of which have helped thousands of families in our area recover from unprecedented disasters. While much of the past year was about overcoming crises, it has also been about building the foundation of our second century vision, which we're in the process of launching and will be fully launched in the spring of 2022. This is a truly exciting time of transformational change for United Way of Greater Houston. And one of our community impact managers who is intimately involved in our work to implement Second Century Vision is here today to tell you more about it. Please welcome Lindsay Hill. Lindsay?
Thank you, Amanda. I'm excited to tell you all more about Second Century Vision, which is being implemented as we speak. Second Century Vision is a strategic plan guiding our work and investments going forward, and is all about creating opportunities for allies, which represents those who earn more than the federal poverty level, but not enough to make ends meet, and those living in poverty to thrive. Here's how: through financial stability programs, which includes vocational training, employment coaching, financial coaching, safe and affordable financial products, early childhood and youth development programs, including early childhood education, quality childcare, out-of-school time programs, college and career readiness programs, and parent and family engagement. And then there's healthcare programs, which include primary, specialty, and behavioral healthcare services. Those key components are supported by a foundation of safety net programs, which includes basic needs like rent and mortgage assistance, utility assistance, access to technology, food, shelter, transportation assistance, and escape from violence, which includes immediate short-term service focused on safety for those fleeing from domestic violence or human trafficking, or for the vulnerable populations like refugees. And then there's a few other components that are central to making this work effective and equitable. An integrated client journey, which is all about creating a partnership with the families we serve. What often happens is when individuals such as Alice seek out assistance or has complex needs, they may not know where to begin or where to start. They may not know all about the services and resources that are available across the vast region that is Greater Houston. They may feel like they have told their story over and over as they navigate through social services and talk to different people. So the solution is the integrated client journey, which United Way will lead by convening organizations to work in parallel to help individuals engage across services. The integrated client journey allows individuals and families to create their own customized plan for programs and services based on their own goals and needs. Then rather than working separately to address individual needs, partners will coordinate programs to make it easy for clients to engage across services. Then there's our navigators, and they play a role in the integrated client journey by helping individuals and families determine their goals and to build individual pathways to help them achieve their goals. Navigators make connections to programs and services and support clients as they move through their journey to stability. And of course, there's our focus on equity. It's no secret that people of color disproportionately face urgent and long-term economic challenges. So we are focused on work that helps make headway against racism and underrepresentation. All of our investments in services and agencies will be evaluated on how they incorporate diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging into their policies, practices, and client service delivery. We are so excited about this work, and I hope that you are too. We know how important it is to the families we serve and to the community as a whole. A lot of this work has gone into planning and preparing for the launch of our second century vision, into determining alignment criteria, into working with partners, stakeholders, donors, and the community at large as plans have progressed. We held a funding conference at the beginning of April, and more than 600 people from a variety of organizations attended to learn more about our strategy and funding opportunities. The funding application opened right after the conference, and we had a great response from a variety of organizations across our region who want to be a part of this work. We have recruited a great group of volunteers who represent geographic areas, race and ethnicities, companies, and other important perspectives. And they are spending a lot of time carefully reviewing applications and making investment recommendations. In January, our new funding announcements will be made, and we will officially embark on this new transformational direction. To say we are excited would be an understatement. Many of you have been along this journey with us for several years, and for that, I would like to say thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our 2021-22 Community Campaign Chair, Scott Hallam.
Thank you, Lindsay. Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Hallam, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Williams Transmission and Gulf of Mexico Operating Area. I am honored to serve as the chair of this year's community campaign and to work with all of you to better the communities that we call home. You've heard about the challenges. You've heard that nearly half of families in our areas are struggling to make ends meet. You know that the pandemic and all of the challenges it brought with it have made things even tougher for so many people. And you've heard about United Way's strategies to change the game, to create opportunities for those who are working hard, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs, those who are working to build a better future for their kids and their families, those who are stuck in a cycle it can feel impossible to break out of, to thrive. These strategies will only work with your help. United Way only works with us behind it. Our community only gets better if we all participate. We're employing some new ideas and strategies to help encourage more people to participate in bettering our community through the United Way. Those include engaging diverse markets, beginning with the African American, Hispanic, and Asian American Pacific Islander communities, growing existing and building new relationships with foundations, growing our individual donors, offering an enhanced technology platform, and continuing to build upon the incredible workplace campaigns you all make so successful. Refreshing our brand to clearly communicate who we are and what we uniquely do. Updating our United Way website to serve as a hub for communicating United Way's work and impact as a destination for those who need our help. And in preparation for our second century of service, we are launching the second century vision in 2022, and we have begun our centennial campaign, which includes a multi-year long suite of fundraising, communication, and engagement efforts. United Way is so fortunate to have a network of corporate and individual volunteers and donors, passionate people like you all, to be advocates and champions for this work. This is a great panel discussion and workshop coming up that will give you tools and resources to help you share the United Way message and invite your colleagues and friends to get involved. There are more resources on the United Way website, and the United Way team and I are here to help and support you every step of the way. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but if last year and a half has taught us anything, it is that we are stronger when we come together. Thank you for standing with the United Way to help our families and our neighbors grow stronger. Now, I'll turn it over to United Way of Greater Houston's Chief Advancement Officer, Dr. Angel Harris, who's going to lead us in what I know will be a fascinating conversation with some great business leaders. Angel?
Thanks, Scott. It's been a blast working with you so far, and we have an amazing year ahead. Thank you for your leadership. Well, hello, everyone. As Scott said, I'm our Vice President and Chief Advancement Officer here at United Way of Greater Houston. I am so excited to be with you all today and to moderate this fabulous panel that will feature Laif Afseth, President of Amegy Bank, Willie Chiang, Chairman and CEO of Plains All-American Pipeline and United Way Board Member, and Leslie Duke, President and General Manager of Burns McDonnell and United Way Board Member. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Angel.
So I'm super excited that today we're going to get to talk about successful campaigns. We're going to talk about leadership giving and engaging volunteers. And then there will be some time for our guests to ask questions of these phenomenal business and community leaders. So please use the Q&A box to submit any questions that you have for our panelists, and we'll get to as many of those as we can as we close out our panel. Okay, so let's get started. Laif, I want to kick it off with you. Amegy runs such a strong United Way campaign across more than 20 different locations. That takes some coordination. And you had a significant increase in your campaign last year in the midst of everything that was happening. What are some of the tips that you can share with us about how you make a multi-location campaign work so well?
Thank you, Angel, and appreciate you, everybody having me here today. It's great to see everybody, and thanks to everybody for your help in raising awareness and funds for the United Way. Hey, so Amegy has been a long time supporter of the United Way. I like to think we've got kind of our campaign dialed in. We have a playbook that I'm happy to share with everybody, and it probably starts with having a campaign chair and co-chair. So each year we have two of our colleagues lead a campaign for Amegy, set the tone, set a theme, set a goal, and arrange all the game plan for our campaign. And then next year the co-chair would become the chair, and we have this rotational basis that happens. But the key for a multi-location program is to engage our team members all across, in the case of Amegy, all of our locations and all of our departments. So what we do is we invite about 80 to 100 colleagues to be team captains. And so they represent a location or a department within the bank. And then we host a kickoff meeting at the United Way for those 80 to 100 colleagues. And they learn about the United Way, all the good things United Way is doing in the community. They also would take a tour of the 211 call center. They oftentimes will get on a bus and go see other United Way agencies. And so we do that every single year. And we also provide each of those team captains with a kit that is their roadmap for how they can run their own campaign within their location or department. And once that occurs, they go back to their teams and departments and host a team meeting with their colleagues and raise awareness about the United Way, about what they can do to help, but also to kind of put the fun in fundraising. And that's kind of where I feel like we come through big time. And I know other companies do the same thing, but man, we have such a great time. And not only do we raise awareness for the United Way, we do these super fun events. We raise money 4 ways. So we have these special events I'm going to talk about just for a quick minute. We host a live auction. We host a silent auction, and we do the e-pledge. Those are the big 4 ways we raise money. But the most fun is our special events. And so we host like office Olympics. And so we have 4-person teams. And we do scooter races in the garage, in the parking garage here at the tower. We play it's a cornhole tournament. We have a spelling bee. I mean, that's all part of this office Olympics. That's one thing we do. We also have a dunking booth. And so you remember going to the fair, we have these dunking booths out and you throw the baseballs and somebody gets dunked. Well, we do that. I've been dunked like 10 years in a row. And there's about 10 of our colleagues that end up getting selected. You know, everybody chips in, I forgot the number, $10 or $25 to nominate a person to be dunked. And then whoever ends up with the most money, you know, actually is in line to get dunked. And so there's a number of us that get dunked every year in front of this big audience, and it's a lot of fun. We also have ping pong tournaments and putting contests. We also had this thing that's really fun called Move the Zoo. So somebody brings in like 100 stuffed animals from their house, and they set up in some person's office. And to have it move from your office, it costs that executive like $100 to move it to somebody else. And so it just rotates all around through the bank, you know, during the whole campaign. We raise thousands of dollars just with stuffed animals being placed in an executive's office. It's so much fun. We have Jeans Day where somebody chips in $5 or $10 and they can wear jeans on Fridays through our campaign. Anyway, it's a great time. And so I'm open. If anybody wants to ask me about all the events that we have, you can reach out to me, you can call me, you can email me. I'll give you our playbook for that. We also host a live auction. And so that's where anyone from within the bank, if you happen to own a second home and you have a beach house or a ranch, or maybe you got sporting tickets, you know, you can auction those off in a live event. We also, you know, we have Irma, you know, we do a margarita party at Irma's. We do a karaoke party that you can bring a big group to and contribute funds to. We just make it so much fun. And it's worked for us, and we've raised a lot of money, but we've also energized a lot of our team members to volunteer at the United Way also. So everybody has a part that they can play. Some have the ability to donate dollars. Others have the ability to raise dollars through their fundraising efforts. Others have the ability to volunteer. And we're not prescriptive on any of those, but we ask everybody to participate in some way. And it's worked for us. And I think it'll work for everyone. And if you need my help, I'm available.
Laif, thank you so much. It seems like you bring a strong structure together with a lot of fun, and that's a good recipe for success. Thank you so much. Well, now I'm going to turn to Leslie. Burns McDonnell ran a successful United Way campaign for so many years, and I understand that you all host some key events that engage key constituents inside of your organization that contribute to that success. So will you share some details with us about your leadership breakfast and maybe how you engage young leaders?
Sure, I appreciate it. So, you know, we get real excited about United Way, and we make it a lot of fun at Burns and Mac. And a lot of the tools that Laif mentioned, you know, we deploy those as well. One of the things that we've decided to do, and it's really become a point of traction for us in our campaign, is to create additional opportunities for givers at giving levels beyond just what the United Way does. So we've created thresholds at Burns and Mac. It's $1,500, $3,000, and $5,000 that we honor those givers in different ways. So our young givers are at that $1,500 year mark. And what we do with them is we create opportunities for them to engage with leadership. So if you get into that group, you're going to get access to our board members. We're going to create breakfast, lunches, happy hours, and we try to really structure it in a way that they can come in, and both our leadership now understands we have emerging leaders that align with us as givers. We really believe that we owe our communities a lot, and that we have to give back. We have a duty to do that. And so we learn early in their careers who we have that we need to pour into from a leadership development perspective. And it's kind of a first hint to us that they are going to be bigger than some of our other employees. And so we do all kinds of things. If we find somebody gives at a certain level, let's say a $3,500 or $5,000 level, we'll structure communication around that person. So if there's a young lady in our New England office that gives at $5,000, they'll think, hey, you know what, let's get her a call from Leslie and see if Leslie can just reach out and have a personal moment where I get to know her, she gets to know me, and we create connections. And we just feel like it's essential that we honor our givers. And that's one of the ways we've chosen to do it. And so we're having a lot of really good success. We also evidence giving in a visual way within our organization. So if you're a year-over-year giver, you're going to have evidence around kind of desk bling, if you will. We're going to have magnets, and you'll start to see 5 years in a row, 10 years in a row givers, so that we're showing, hey, we see you, we know you're participating. We don't care what the amount is. If you're giving, we're going to honor that over years of giving. And so we like that a lot. We love the 211 Center. And we do take people there. One of the things we've learned is if we can get our leaders to the 211 Center, then they are going to inspire their teams to give. It just somehow connects dots in a way that's unbelievable. And so those are ways that we do it. You know, I also typically bring in some element of a group that's having a lot of traction. One of your organizations that the United Way is sponsoring, and I let them really speak to our group. But then I try to create a narrative around what would Houston look like without them? What kind of burdens would we be facing as a community if this organization didn't exist? And oftentimes what would it be like without is a really great way to really show and evidence the value of these wonderful, wonderful organizations. And so those are things we do to try to make it meaningful and have it take root. We think that once we get somebody hooked on giving, they're going to give forever. So.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Leslie. It seems like you put a lot of very personal touches into your campaign. And the bonus is providing professional development opportunities for your team as part of the process. So thank you for thinking of that extra piece of activity for your campaign this year. So thanks.
Sure.
Hey, Willie.
Angel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great.
Well, this next one is for you. And we know that leadership is a key driver in organizational culture. How has focusing on leadership support helped make the Plains All-American Pipeline campaign so successful?
Well, first, thanks for the opportunity to join this wonderful group. Laif and Leslie did such a good job. I don't have to say a lot following it, but I will share some thoughts. So I've been involved in United Way for quite some time, and I've worked for a number of companies. And it sounds like both Laif and Leslie's companies have got very well-established campaigns, and they're building on that. And I came from ConocoPhillips and had a very, very successful campaign, got very involved in it. I moved to Plains All-American, and we didn't support United Way. So back to leadership involvement, you know, if you're going to make a difference, you have to sell it yourself. So we actually kicked our campaign off 3 years ago. And because we're a master limited partnership, we're very frugal on how we spend our money. The way it works is the partners, we view the cash flow as the partner's money. So a lot of things we do, we end up, we don't spend the company's money on it because it's the partners that ultimately figure out how they spend the money. But we're shifting where there's a table stakes that you've got to play at if you're going to be a community member and a good company in standing. So what we have done is we started off with a kind of a management challenge. So we started a campaign, and a number of us contributed a match program, right? So it was unique because normally you have a company match. In this case, it was a personal match from a number of the executives, and that got some attention. And usually when you've got your leadership team focused and supporting this, people tend to jump on and want to help. So for us, it's been great. We started off with a small campaign. You know, I think it was just about $250,000, and last year we actually had our best campaign even with COVID. And we are trying to have a lot of fun with it. We've done many of the things that both Laif and Leslie have talked about it. We've auctioned off lunches. We've got a whole group of volunteer ambassadors, and we have taco breakfasts, and we've done some bowling. And one of the fun ones was the competition between floors, both on participation as well as absolute dollars. And I hear next year, back to Leslie, something you said about auctioning off management time. I think Stacy Warner, who may be on this call as one of our campaign leaders, has volunteered she wants to volunteer our house and a barbecue at our house next year. So it needs to be a lot of fun. You know, I think the mission is very, very straightforward. We need to help. Second Century Vision helps us put a brand on what we're trying to do. And one of my personal views is we've got to leave it better than we found it and give back more than you take. And if you put your mind and your focus on that, it gets very easy to get people to participate. And we're just getting started, so we're going to keep it going.
Thanks, Willie. It sounds like the leaders really walk the talk. So we appreciate your guidance there.
You bet.
Laif, I know Amegy puts a huge focus on volunteerism. Can you share a little bit about how, and really the why, you all encourage your employees to participate in activities like Days of Caring, as well as leadership service opportunities like Project Blueprint?
Sure, I'd be happy to. You know, at the end of the day, it's kind of in our DNA. I mean, from the time that Walter Johnson founded the bank a little over 30 years ago, he's just had such a imprint on our culture here, and it starts with, you know, being a bank for the whole community, but also giving back and being a good community partner and volunteering. I mean, it's just kind of a way of life around here, and so we don't know any different. And that's kind of how we built the company, and you know, we strive to be a great community partner and in every way, and to be active out there and volunteering and giving back and raising money, and that's just, it's kind of what we do. And we do participate actively in Days of Caring, which you know, I assume everybody has awareness of, but it's an opportunity for, at least in the case of Amegy, all of our colleagues are you know, have the opportunity to volunteer and learn more about the United Way and do really good things in the community. And maybe it stimulates additional volunteer efforts through the United Way agencies. And we hope that happens, but creating awareness and education is kind of part of our plan here, and it's worked. And so we have volunteers every day that are doing different things at United Way agencies, but also on that Day of Caring. But then you mentioned Project Blueprint, and we're a big advocate of that. I know the United Way's created this effort to create more diversity on public and private sector boards, which is a really good initiative. And we've contributed colleagues to that effort. It's a couple-month program. I encourage everyone that's on the line here today to learn more about Project Blueprint and creating opportunities for your colleagues with diverse multicultural backgrounds to be a part of this, to find their way onto public and private sector boards. I know you guys have had almost 1,000 graduates of the program in our community, and boards are better off for it. So thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And it sounds like education is key in that. Volunteer opportunities give your employees a chance to learn more about what's happening across the entire community. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Well, Leslie, last year gave us an opportunity, I guess I can call it an opportunity, to do things differently. And we know that a lot of creativity will be needed in all areas, our various businesses, as we move forward to normal through the pandemic. Will you share a little bit about how your team shifted to holding your United Way campaign virtually?
Sure, Angel. I think you know, it was something that, just, you know, to be perfectly honest, we didn't know how it was going to go. We actually kind of collectively thought we probably need to tip down our goal. Just in all fairness, you know, will we be able to actually get the attention and the heart of our employees focused on giving it like we have in the past, without us being assembled together? And so we just were absolutely overwhelmed when we started our campaign. We blew past any other goal we'd ever had. So last year was our best year ever. And so when you really think about it, what happened was the need was evident. The need never more present. And so what we thought was going to be real difficult became really more inspirational, to be honest. And so then we wanted to create the fun, right? One of the things we always get to have together is fun. And so we started to do like Mario Kart games virtually, and you know, competition is always good for the soul. It's always a big part of our campaign. So competition was very alive and well. We did bingo online. We did outdoor events where we could. So a lot of lawn games and things like that. We did a minute to win it, putting contest that we were able to set up in multiple locations to have the same exact competitive situation, but but we were able to play at national, local, and even department levels. And so we really just kept trying to figure out how to be creative. And there's tons of ways to do it. The tools that have come our way in this virtual world we've been in are pretty amazing. And so one, it was a great campaign. We were way over our best year ever, and that's exciting. We'll keep some of those, even when we get back to whatever normal will be now. I think that a lot of our tools will stay the same. The virtual really connected people almost in a boundaryless way, and that was a lovely outcome. And so I think have fun. Don't ever stop having fun doing it. Giving is great. And giving together is even better. So I think it's all part of that inspiring the collective gift.
Well, thank you, Leslie, for turning on the dime to help support our community through tough times. We appreciate that.
You bet. Angela, I'd also add, just so that we know this, Burns and Mac as a company made a decision. We wanted to write our largest check ever to support COVID-19. And it was important to us that went to all the communities we serve. We're a global firm, but very domestically focused in the United States. And we didn't know really exactly where to start. And what we did is we called United Way. And United Way was how we figured out how to serve our communities in an intentional gift outside of our normal campaign. So just a big thank you to United Way nationally and certainly in Houston to get that funds, all of those funds to the people that needed it the most. So we need to think about United Way that way as well.
Thank you. We're happy to be your philanthropic partner and to help you help others. So thanks for thinking of us first. Well, this next question is for Willie. Willie, you and Leslie both serve on the United Way of Greater Houston Board of Trustees. Can you talk a little bit about why you chose to serve on the United Way's board and what perspective it's given you about the needs in our area and how United Way is working to address them?
Sure. The reason I sit on the board is I've been on the board for quite some time now, probably longer than many. Time flies when you're having fun. But back to the gift of service or whatever you want to call it, back, you find it, leave it better than you found it, give back more than you take. It's I try to carve out time my entire career to try to give back wherever I'm at. And United Way has been a big piece of what we've done, my family's done in Houston. So the perspective it's given me is the good that we do. I'll give a hats off to the staff. The staff is unbelievable. United Way is just wonderful. It's fun to be with the group. It's fun to support them. It's fun to work with them, challenge them. So that's a big piece of it. And you have to believe the mission. And I go back to the second century vision. This is a rallying point on how we, United Way, should be delivering our message. And I'm really happy to hear Leslie say that when Burns and McDonnell was looking for figuring out how they're going to contribute, they called United Way because we want to be the convener of how we can help the city, because we think about it, we do it in a strategic way, and we execute, we post audit, and it works. And so my roles have been not only just as a board member, I have the privilege to be on our selection committee. So I was part of bringing our wonderful CEO, Amanda, on board. Definitely support her, and she's done a wonderful job, and we're really happy you're here, Angel. And I get to serve as the chair next year. So there's a lot of fun going forward.
Well, thank you so much. And when talking about United Way's efficiency, well spoken from the chair of our finance committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, what a great discussion. Now we get the chance to take some questions from the audience. So let's see, we have a couple of questions that I'll pose to our panelists. And if you have a question, feel free to pop that into the Q&A box and we'll be sure to answer your questions too. So our first question is, what are some fun ways to thank your employees for participating in the campaign? Leslie, can you talk to us about that?
Sure. I think the fun is part of the process. When one of your employees gets to throw a pie at you, it turns out to be just, a great thank you to them for giving. So they love those types of things. So if you can dunk your boss, or you can throw a pie at your boss. And so having fun, I think, does a lot of that appreciation. We do actually have a giving magnet that we put on. It's an annual magnet. And so you see people that have given for years and years and years, and we kind of make it grow so it all connects and it's all part of the same overall giving story for them. So we want people to know that come up to their desk that they are a giver and that they have chosen to participate. And so we don't find that our givers really need a whole lot to motivate them. And we spend more time, I think, trying to pour back into them with those events and that access and that leadership development, and then seeing if we can swing some new givers into the fray through that process. And so that tends to work for us.
Okay, thank you. So this next question is, have your companies had campaign themes? And if so, which one was your favorite and why? So Willie, I'm not sure if you've had campaign themes at Plains, but if you have, is there one that's been your favorite?
We don't have a campaign theme, which is a great idea. We just tried to get it going. I don't have a good thought on campaign themes, but I just wanted to add something to what Leslie said in your question about how do you thank folks. My encouragement would be to spend as much personal time as you can getting management and leaders involved. It's the time and the attention you give back to the organization that, one, promotes the esprit de corps of the companies we have, but two, it just takes the time to honor what people are doing and their ability to be able to support. And sometimes we get too busy to think about that. So that's a challenge.
Okay, that's really helpful. Jeffrey has a question that he's trying to understand what challenges you have overcome in dealing with remote workers and employees across multiple states. So we talked about that a little bit earlier, Laif. Are employees outside of the region as well, or if anyone has any thoughts about that?
One thing that this pandemic has taught us is how to stay better connected virtually than we ever did before. I mean, this Zoom call is an example of that. Last March, I've never used Teams or Zoom, and now I feel like I'm a world-class expert on Teams and Zoom. And I think everybody else is too. In fact, my daughters are saying, Dad, you should create a TikTok video. And I didn't even know what TikTok was. And so I think, today, I think we've all gotten more comfortable in these virtual settings, and it's a way for us to stay better connected, and it's going to serve us well, in the days going forward, no matter what work-life balance is going forward, how that plays out. And so I think there are ways to keep employees engaged, whether they're in person or virtually, and you just got to run a campaign that includes everyone and energizes everyone and creates awareness and volunteer opportunities, whether virtual, we've done some virtual volunteer opportunities, and you can do a campaign completely virtually. It works. Leslie proved that it works, and she actually raised more money this last year virtually than she did previously in person. So it's possible.
That sounds great. Zoom has opened up, and all the tools have opened up a whole new world. We had a volunteer who is very committed, who was on vacation in Paris yesterday, but was able to join us for the meeting because we did it by Zoom. So that's fantastic.
I'll speak to the campaign. I thought this was a pretty neat campaign, and it could certainly be done virtually. It was pre-COVID, so it wasn't a virtual campaign for us, but we did lend a hand. And leadership wrote a slogan on their hand, and we took a picture of the hand and started posting these pictures. Couples, my husband and I, we put our hands together and did a message as a couple giving together. And we started posting our hands in this Give a Hand campaign. And then people started submitting their photos. We weren't even doing a photo campaign, but they just started sending them in anyway. And so then we started this sort of online in our intranet system, posting our employees giving a hand, and it became just kind of a wild campaign that just took off. We didn't expect it to be quite so fun and popular. So it was fun. It was good.
That's great. Awesome.
We just found a campaign slogan for next year. Thank you.
Lots of idea sharing. That's phenomenal. Okay, so our next question comes from Brad. And Brad, the panel may be able to answer this question, or I may ask Amy Bierman to answer this question in the next segment of our time together today. But he said, with all of us working virtually or part-time in the office right now, how can we electronically receive payments for various fundraising activities? So I'm not sure if our panelists are aware of that. I can give a plug to our phenomenal relationship managers who are working with each of your organizations, who may also be able to think through your particular organization and how we can partner and do that. But I didn't know if the panel wanted to add anything else to that. Okay.
Yeah, good question, Angel. Vanessa Wolin is our United Way representative and partner, and she's helped us. I mean, we do have e-pledge, so all of our employees have the ability to contribute through an e-pledge campaign, but they also have, United Way has helped us organize our silent auction, where we have the ability for all of our colleagues to donate items that would end up in an auction environment, and people can bid on them. So we've done that, and that works really well for us. And so we found a lot of ways to do that all electronically, but it's in partnership with United Way.
Thank you, Laif. Our next question is from one who is a brand new loan executive to United Way. And if you've not heard of our loan executive program, this is just a win-win opportunity for United Way to engage leaders in the community to come and work with us through the fall for the annual campaign. We get the support and help engage other corporations, and our loan executives get the opportunity to network, to build their sales and development skills, and to really give back in an amazing way. So one of our loan executives is excited to get started and is wondering what you would recommend they focus on first, particularly as it's in regards to working with your workplace campaigns.
I think the only suggestion I'd have is just get out and do it, right? Get out and meet folks and help, and don't try to perfect what you think may happen. The engagement, I mean, you're a loan executive because you've got the talent and the ability to engage with people. So my suggestion would just be step out and make things happen.
Yeah. And I would say, hype. Do some pre-campaign hype. Don't wait till the campaign, but start building that hype ahead of it, so that the campaign is just now, the culmination of the hype you've been creating around the campaign coming.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Thank you both. This next question says, there could be a lot of organizations that could be a company's philanthropic partner. And the question is, why choose United Way as a corporate sustainability partner versus any other local or national organization? Willie, can I toss that one to you?
Absolutely. I go back to the convener of how we can make the community better, right? If you think about United Way, Second Century Vision, it's a very well thought out strategy on how do we not just help people, but we help them become better. And I'm very excited about the Second Century Vision, because I think once people get that, you get the phone calls that Leslie got. Hey, we've got a check we want to write. We have people that want to help. How do we do that, right? There's no need for every company to try to figure out how do you support effectively. United Way has done that, and they've got a very, very robust process to make sure that it's executed well. So I think that's the biggest piece right there.
Okay, thanks, Willie. I appreciate that. And especially as I think about United Way's footprint around the globe for organizations that have multiple sites across the country, around the world, United Way can be that partner that can help you extend your reach beyond Greater Houston. So I'll throw that plug in there for us as well. The next question from Phoebe says, would you say that your campaign is more driven by senior leadership or employees and their peers? Leslie, what do you think about that?
So I think that's a great question. I think that ours started out leadership. I think if you were to go back years ago, you would have seen it kind of us pulling it up from the top. But today, I think it's become a cultural norm for Burns and Mac, and I think it's peer-to-peer more than it is leader. I think there's a lot of excitement and energy around giving, And that seems to be a little bit more coming up organically throughout the company. And so I think it's shifted over time. I don't really care, to be honest, as long as we get it done. And so, however you can make it effective and real, and have it become something that I call it needs to be at the soul level of an organization. That's what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, you gotta feel it, right? You really gotta feel it. Awesome. Thank you. Well, yes, Willie, sorry.
I was just going to say, I would tell you that we're probably certainly in the more leadership driven because we're earlier in our journey, but it's been very rewarding for me to see that our volunteer ambassadors that want to get involved. And we're still learning as an organization, how do you participate in United Way and how do we have more fun? So I'm hoping that it'll, kind of fire across all cylinders all the way through the company.
Getting everyone involved, that's important. Thank you. Well, we have time for one last question. Laif, I'm going to toss this one to you. You talked about volunteerism and education, but what's the most impactful way to help your coworkers better understand the United Way and its mission?
That's a good question. I mean, I think more than anything, we're trying to create pathways to become more aware of everything that United Way can do and what United Way does for our community. And so, we really encourage our employees to become better educated on all the agencies that the United Way serves, find opportunities for them to serve. And serve in different ways. Some have the capacity to contribute financially. Others have the capacity to be creative and raise money on their behalf. And others have the ability to volunteer. And we just ask you to think about how we can support you in any of the three paths. And knowing that not everybody can do all three, but there's room at the table for everybody as it relates to the United Way.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, this has been a wonderful discussion. I hope our guests got some great ideas, some inspiration, and some valuable information from our panelists, Leslie, Willie, and Laif. Thank you so much for spending your time with us every day and for today and for every day, the things that you do for United Way in our community. We're so grateful.
Thanks, Angel.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Well, next up, we have a great workshop that is going to give you an opportunity to dig deeper on our campaign strategies, ways to incorporate and get people involved in leadership giving, and talk a little bit about how we engage volunteers as part of your workplace campaign. Our own Amy Bierman, Manager of Corporate Relations, will lead that discussion. Amy?
Great. Well, I just want to echo my appreciation for the panelists as well. If we could just sort of duplicate them and spread them all across every company that supports United Way, I would do that. So thank you so much for sharing your insight and really providing those examples. I know that's a key reason that a lot of people tuned in today to CLC is really to learn and hear from others. So this portion of the workshop is going to dive even deeper. It's going to be led by some of our awesome United Way staff members. And so we're going to really showcase, all the opportunities, the tools, the resources that we can provide to really help your campaign be successful. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. And as I do that, I also want to introduce two people who will be presenting with me today, one of which is Taylor Grimes, who's going to dive deeper into leadership giving and how we can really connect our United Way affinity groups and leadership giving groups with your corporate employee resource groups and how you can leverage that in your campaign. And we also have our last panelist, Ozzy, who will be really focused on highlighting volunteerism, talk about what opportunities United Way has for Day of Caring and even beyond that. So really excited to dive deep into that. Alrighty, so I'm going to kick things off and really talk about sort of our 5 fundamental elements that we think really leads to a successful campaign. We know there are still so many uncertainties right now related to in-person, virtual, hybrid campaigns, but we really know that the United Way campaign is adaptable. And so we want to be able to provide those tools to really meet your company where you are to help you be successful. So we're going to go through sort of the importance of really starting off with a strong team, how you can educate and inspire your workforce, really make it personal. We got some great examples from our panelists already on how they make it personal, how they really ensure that everyone feels connected and is asked to contribute. And then really closing things off with sharing their appreciation with their workforce. So I wanted to start off really with who's on your team. It's a great way, sort of framework for you to begin your campaign planning. I love this picture on the slide. This is our NOV team a couple of years ago. And I know Laif talked about how robust the Amegy campaign team is. I do know that every company can't have a huge, campaign team in all cases, but it's really crucial for your company to think about who is involved and really ensuring that that's spanning across all departments, all levels. And we have a helpful tool on our website. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, wow, maybe we could expand our team. We have a helpful document that you'll be able to find on our website that really outlines a couple of key committee positions and a brief description so you can learn from others about what your committee could look like. So that's a great place to start. Once you have your team, we really want to be able to help them feel successful. So connect them to the tools. I have to give a big shout out to our brand team at United Way for really honing in our website to make it user-friendly, to dump a ton of resources available to you. So I'm excited to be able to call out our campaign resources tab. It's really enhanced to be able to provide a lot of tools up front and really address and be able to provide you that meet and share best practices. So if you haven't checked that out yet, I really encourage you to check that out, share it with your teams, and use the tools to help things feel a bit easier. I will also mention that on the marketing materials tools, we have a lot of brand new, fresh campaign materials for you to check out. And if you are a campaign coordinator, we have a new online portal for you to actually directly request your materials. So we call it our materials on demand. So you can go in, see what's available, make your selections, share your address, and they will arrive on your doorstep. So I encourage you, if you're interested in that, just to connect with your United Way representative. We'll provide you the login there, and that'll get you going. So speaking of our United Way representatives, I love to just include some headshots here and some names. Really, we are here to support you. These are the lovely faces of our key workplace campaign staff members. They have years of experience, and we really stand ready to help you succeed in your campaign. So if you have any questions about who your representative is, feel free to post in the Q&A and we'll follow up separately to confirm that for you. But we stand here ready to really help you be successful this year. So really diving into, some best practices of how you can educate and inspire your workplace. A kickoff is definitely a very popular way to clearly sort of mark the start of your campaign. And we saw last year a lot of creative kickoffs, both virtual and in person, right? So we encourage you to think about, the meeting link, depending upon if it's virtual or in person. We love to have part of that meeting or kickoff be interactive, whether it's a poll or including a guest speaker that focuses on a specific topic of interest for your group. We have United Way Trivia. We have some really fun games this year that we've added, and we're going to go over as part of this presentation. Of course, we're always going to encourage any sort of kickoff or campaign activity to include a call to action, right? What can I do to make a difference, and how can I do it? And if kickoff is not your thing and you struggle to get employees to attend a standalone kickoff, just focus on United Way, we encourage you just to tag on a United Way message in pre-existing meetings. Maybe you have an all-staff town hall on a regularly recurring dates. Maybe you have weekly department meetings, so you can be really creative there. But really focusing in on that education is going to make all the difference for your workplace campaign. So now I want to transition into some of the awesome tools we have available to you, really to help things be interactive. Some of you may have experienced our Alice Making Tough Choices experience last year. That was new for us. This year, we've taken it one step further and really honed in on the Houston stats. We find that really focusing and educating your employees on who Alice is and what it feels like to need help and trying to navigate all of those resources in the community, it really brings it home. So I encourage you to consider leveraging this interactive tool. You can see the link is on the slide here. You can send it to your employee base and they can do it individually, or we had a lot of success with companies doing this challenge in a meeting setting, and you can divide out and do breakout sessions and really experience the challenge together as a group, and then have a chance to come back and really share what that experience was like. So you're really able to step in the shoes of someone who's really sort of struggling, but working hard. So next up, I'm super excited about a brand new Escape the Room that we have available this year. And so some of you who have participated in past campaigns may remember a couple of years ago, we launched our very first escape room for United Way, and it was so much fun. I know our panelists talked a lot about, the success of incorporating fun within their campaign. And so this year we're bringing an escape room back, but it's new and improved. It's going to look and feel completely different. So if you've done it once, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to escape again. So this year, we're going to have the materials all provided. We're going to try to make it as easy as possible for your company to pick up this package, take it, run with it, and have a really cool interactive campaign element. It could be a mid-campaign, sort of educational and fun team building experience, but we think it will get a lot of great use for this campaign. So I mentioned games. So there are so many creative ways that our companies have found to really infuse the fun into United Way. And we heard how important that is. So much of United Way is also just about your employees being able to connect with each other as well. And so I'm excited about a couple of game opportunities that are all United Way focused this year. They can be done virtually or they could be done in person. So we brought back Bingo and Family Feud, which we had last year. And so we've updated that to be able to play again. And then we've added 2 new games this year. One is Jeopardy and one is Wheel of Fortune. And so we have detailed guides. You can download this presentation ready to go in addition to some instructions on how it works. You can take it and you can customize it for your company if you wanted to add company specific facts or questions, but really want to make it easy for you guys to be able to infuse that fun in the campaign. So next up, you see my face plastered around here. You may have noticed Angel, who was the moderator of our last panel, had a really fun Bright Beginnings background. You see the little kids' classroom there. And so this idea actually came from BHP years ago, who used to coordinate their executive in person to go out to different sites across Houston that were connected to United Way. And he would take a tour and learn and see the impact of United Way firsthand. But while he was there, we would stage a little photo shoot And we would use that photo in their campaign to then and provide some hints for their employees to guess where he was today. And so we've adapted this last year to be able to do this virtually. So we love, when you can go out on site and see and feel the work, but we, understand the time restrictions and challenges in this virtual world. And so you can now download these photos and hints that we've already put together for you and have a virtual background and just take a snapshot of that. So it's a fun little tool that you can incorporate in your campaign to really include that personal element. So again, you can go to our website and download everything you would need to incorporate that if you think that would be fun. All right, so we are going to take a quick pause. I feel like I've done a lot of talking here and really do want to make it interactive for you guys today. So I'm going to do a quick poll. So let me go ahead and launch it so you can see the question. Really gonna ask you guys, what interactive campaign tool that you just heard about are you most excited about? So go ahead and make your selections and we'll see which is the winner. All right, I'm seeing some good responses. This is fun. All right, a few more seconds. All right, it looks like the winner is the games. So that's exciting. We're really excited to see these games in action and to get your employees excited and really jazzed up about United Way. All right, so just a couple more sections I'm going to go over. So I talked about making it personal. You heard a lot of great examples from our panelists on how they make it personal. We talked about Day of Caring, going out, seeing, feeling United Way work in action. That's certainly a great way to make it personal. You heard a couple of mentions of our 211 helpline and taking tours of that. We are being very sensitive to the current environment, but we absolutely have virtual tours of 211 that are available. We are being very sensitive, and so we can accommodate some very small in-person tours on a case-by-case basis. But it won't be the traditional tour that we all love, where you get to sit next to a helpline specialist and be able to listen in on those live calls. But it is still a great way to really add the personal elements when you're hearing those beneficiary stories, when you're hearing someone call in, to really bring it home for a lot of individuals. Another great way to make it personal really is finding your colleagues who have been helped by United Way. Ask them if they're willing to share their personal story. Share a United Way beneficiary story. We have great video resources on our website. Or bring in someone from United Way and schedule a speaker. So that can really make it feel nice and personal as well. And someone brought up TikTok earlier, I think it was Laif. And so I wanted to share a quick video, it's just a couple of minutes long, of how Williams made it personal this past year, doing a TikTok challenge for their employees.
Oh yeah, all right, stop the dancing. One more time, we're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, one more time.
Oh, I really want to make a TikTok video for the United Way. Who could I ask to help me? Nita, can you help me do a TikTok video for the United Way?
I wish I could help, Mom, but I don't know how. Let's find someone else to help. Isaiah, could you help me make a TikTok video for the Williams United Way?
So
sorry, Mom. I'm way too busy. Ask Kobe.
Kobe, can you help me make a TikTok video?
I need somebody help, not just anybody.
United Way's mission is to improve lives by mobilizing the caring power communities around the world to advance the common ground. They focus in fighting for health, education, and financial stability to every person in every community. Now we have our kids here to show you how we support United Way. We support United Way.
Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey. We support United Way. Hey, hey.
United Way makes us so happy we want to dance.
I seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want.
Join Market Area 3 and give United Way.
Bring me down.
So I challenge you not to watch that video or to watch that video and not smile. It just brings such a nice personal element, especially if that's your colleagues. And you can tell, it doesn't always have to be, professionally, a professional video for it to be effective in the campaign. So it's fun to have that personal element. So moving on to really connecting with your employees and asking everyone to give. I know sometimes we have this fear of, asking for money is hard. And we don't want that to exist in the United Way campaign. We really just want to be able to equip you with sharing what the United Way impact is and feel comfortable and confident asking others to join you. We really encourage you to make giving exciting. So whether or not that's leveraging a company match, it's always fun if you can do like a flash matching session that people don't expect. So, you announce for the next hour, we're gonna match contributions 2 to 1 instead of 1 to 1 or something fun like that. That really makes giving exciting. There's a lot of really great examples I'm gonna highlight related to creating some incentives around growing your campaign, whether that's focused on individual growth or company-wide goals. It really makes a difference to have your company leadership, publicly endorsing the campaign and encouraging your employees to give. But foundationally, we want you guys to make giving convenient, right? And so someone asked about platforms for special events. We certainly have some tools available at United Way through credit card portals or Square card readers with tablets that we can bring out to your company to really make it easy for you to fundraise and collect funds. I will just add here, if your company is looking for a platform to manage pledges, special events, volunteerism, and or corporate matching, please reach out to United Way, your United Way rep, really to learn what United Way has to offer. I think Laif mentioned United Way ePledge, which his company uses, which is a free platform. We do know that a growing number of companies are looking for third-party processors like cyber grants or Benevity Your Cause. And we want you to know that we have some tools available at United Way. So we'd love for you to let us know what you're looking for, and help us help you be successful with your corporate social responsibility. So sharing some examples of making giving exciting. So I wanted to highlight what Phillips 66 did last year in their campaign along the lines of their Step Up model. So what they were able to do was incentivize individuals increasing their gift, either by $100, $200, or $300. And you can see how that unlocked different drawings at different levels to really make it exciting and add some of that draw for employees to contribute their money to the United Way campaign. Some other fun examples and ideas, you know, if your company decides that you want to focus on percent participation, you know, it's great to have a company-wide goal to say, if we get to this level of participation, you know, the office will close for the day before Thanksgiving or whatever date you choose. So everyone gets that additional day off. You would be surprised how motivating that can be in the campaign if you can make that possible at your company. Or maybe you want to focus on increasing your campaign by a certain percentage. So maybe instead of selling a jeans pass, you create this goal, and if you get there, then everyone gets to wear jeans on a particular day. Maybe it's average gift that you want to focus on, and increasing individuals to stretch just a little bit more each year. So maybe that gets them access to a free lunch. Or one of my favorite examples, especially this past year, which is, you know, costs nothing, is having a fun departmental challenge. So if the department reaches a particular goal, the department leader will use a silly Zoom background for a week, and the team gets to choose what that Zoom background will be. So a couple of photos here just to make it light and fun. But that really costs you nothing, but can be a fun way to add some of that excitement and to drive that growth. All right, so closing things off with the thank you element. And I love these photos here. One is from BHP, who just so happened to close their campaign on Halloween. And so they did a really fun costume challenge, and they had departments that could sign up for group costumes. That's where you see the crayons there. Or, I mean, in my opinion, the very best check presentation on the right there was from Williams, who got out those super soakers, and I think that was their two co-chairs for the campaign that are in ponchos there, and they had the check that was laminated covered in shaving cream, I think it was, and got some volunteers to super soak the shaving cream off to reveal how much the company was able to contribute that year. But the main point really is just to make sure that every donor knows how important their gift was. We do have some personalized thank you letter content on our website that's linked here that you can leverage to be able to really send that out to your employee base. A thank you event, if it's possible, really to express that gratitude, announce the results, and celebrate can be a lot of fun. So we encourage you to really incorporate those fun elements and those 5 foundational elements, and we think you're going to have great success this year. So that was a lot of information. I want to pause here and check in with Taylor to see if there are any questions we want to take from the audience before we transition into focusing on leadership giving and then our volunteerism.
Yeah, Amy, we had a couple questions that I think you would be great to answer. First was one, how best do you prepare coworkers, or do you encourage individuals to prepare their coworkers for the campaign right before it begins, so they're looking forward to it? How do you create that buzz and excitement?
Yeah, certainly. So it depends a little bit if you're in person or virtually, but you know, as much as you can plaster United Way and build that excitement, the better, right? So I know a lot of companies will leverage all of their marketing communication channels. So maybe it's posters in the elevator or using the screens around their office. you know, highlighting a calendar of upcoming events and making that exciting, leveraging some opportunities in departmental meetings to sort of spur what's coming ahead. So there's a couple of different ways that you can sort of get ahead of the campaign, as Leslie mentioned, drive that buzz so people know what to expect.
Great. I have one other that actually leads sort of into the corporate giving piece that was asked is we have an ambassador to the company and they want to learn more specifically about what all we do. We've heard a little bit about here, but as we know, United Way covers so much. So how can what are additional resources they should look for, or how do they learn all about what we offer so they can talk to their company about being a partner towards corporate gifts?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And that's where I would really encourage you to reach out to your United Way representative, because look, we know United Way does so much and sometimes it's hard to get a grasp on all the impact that United Way can make. So we'd love to be able to listen and learn and share that on a personal basis. But, you know, we've mentioned our website a couple of times and of course, that's going to be a great place to start. We have a ton of information on our second century vision, on Alice, on all of the areas of United Way impact and work, whether it's Bright Beginnings or our Thrive program. And so always a good place to start is our website, but please also reach out to United Way representatives so that we can go through and really help you understand all the different elements so that we can really tailor the message to what your employees are going to care most about.
Thanks, Amy. And then last question, how long on average should a campaign last?
That's a really great question. So I would say the standard, without knowing anything about your company, is around 2 weeks, right? Not too short, not too long, but it really varies. We have some companies who do much longer campaigns and they're very successful. We have some other companies who, you know, do more of a sprint. You know, they want to crunch it all in 1 week, make it really exciting, pack it in. So there's no hard and fast rule, but I would say 2 weeks is on average sort of our standard campaign timeframe.
Awesome. Well, you got all of the ones that I think we can answer right now.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for diving deep with me and going through some of these fun examples here. I'm going to turn it over to Taylor, who will be really diving in on incorporating leadership giving and United Way affinity groups and how you can leverage those within your campaigns and especially with your employee resource groups. So Taylor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Amy. And thank you so much for talking a bit about all the ways you can get involved with the campaign, make it fun and make it engaging. So that way your company and the individuals at that company can make it exciting. For those who I don't have the pleasure of knowing just yet, my name is Taylor Grimes. I'm the manager of affinity groups, and I support our special initiatives and our leadership levels alongside 3 team members, Tony Holmes, Aisha Baker, and Marilyn Morales. And so today, what I'll sort of cover is how to plug in the work and the impact that we have through our various groups to the work and the energy that y'all might have either with employee resource groups or ways to engage individuals who give at a certain giving level in the work. So I wanted to tell you, as we go through each of these, I have just chosen one of the numerous companies that help with each of these groups and how they've done it successfully, but there are so many examples. And to spotlight Williams again, simply because I saw how wonderfully they did it in a virtual reality last year, I wanted to give a special shout out to them for hosting a leadership giving luncheon. It's a virtual Zoom. They invited our staff members to come and talk about the different groups, the different ways to get engaged, and then offered it open for questions and had ERG representatives there to talk about ways we could plug into the work already. So many companies now are realizing and seeing the impact of those ERGs, so employees resource groups. And so some of our work can tie in, and we'd love to help do that. So Amy, if you'll move on to the next slide, I'll start going into a little bit about what these examples are and how we do that. So first I'll start out with our link group. So our link is our individuals, they're 30 and under, and they make a gift of at least $250 or more to United Way. And one of the companies that has done this really well and continues to have really great engagement and feedback through this is Centerpoint Energy. So Centerpoint actually has a young professionals group, and they created an internal link committee at the company. It's 4 young professionals who had raised their hand and said, I'd like to be engaged. I'd like to help with this outreach. And they partner with our external link group here at United Way about upcoming events, getting people engaged, supporting and hosting their own projects at the company, and then just leveraging the work that we're doing here with that. So Centerpoint Energy, this is actually a group of them. They were at our annual holiday cheer event where we give presents to Bright Beginning students, but it's not just presents, it's a basic need item. So our Bright Beginnings and our Bright Beginning centers lets us know what the needs are, and then they come together at a fun, cool place and wrap the presents together, hear about the impact that they're able to make, and then we get to go and deliver the presents to the Bright Beginning agencies. We've had to obviously pivot all of our groups virtually, but we were still able to do something similar this year with Link and host a Wi-Fi drive to provide 6 months of Wi-Fi to families throughout the community. So there are lots of great ways to plug in Link and our young professionals into the work. While Laif was on here earlier, I have to give a special shout out to Amegy as well, who has done tremendous work with their young professionals and engaging them in the Link group as well. So next, I'm actually going to talk about young leaders. So there is some overlap between our young leaders and our Link individuals. So the young leaders is emerging leaders age 45 and under who make a personal gift of $1,000. So while Link focuses a lot on volunteerism, Young Leaders is split both between professional development opportunities as well as the volunteerism. So inside Schlumberger, they have 2 young professionals who have raised their hand. They serve as the ERG co-chairs for their Young Leaders program, and they work with our United Way to promote Young Leaders Giving. So they host regular events across their office buildings. They have special features of interesting young leaders. So during their campaign, they had this really engaging young leader at their company. He makes a personal contribution to United Way, but outside of Schlumberger, he actually has climbed 6 of the tallest peaks across different continents. And so he got to share his story. And while the campaign was running, he actually made his commitment right there on screen. So for people at Schlumberger, they were really excited to learn about how he was able to do that, how he's able to work with his manager about finding the appropriate time off, while also supporting the community, getting to work on what he's passionate about, as well as talking more about the community needs here and to incorporate everything into the community. So that's a really great example of how Schlumberger does it. And this was a group of Schlumberger employees right before we had to start working from home or navigating COVID. We all got together at the Houston Food Bank and they sent out a group of individuals to the food bank to volunteer from Schlumberger. So I'll pivot into women's initiative. So our women's initiative, they're community-minded women making personal gifts of $2,500 or more. So I'll use ExxonMobil as their example. So ExxonMobil in the past has hosted luncheons on campus for the Women's Initiative group. They also are outlets and extensions of events that we have for the larger United Way community. There's just over 900 women in Women's Initiative who make this personal contribution. And so for this group, ExxonMobil, sometimes it was harder for them to travel down to where we were hosting it, which was a little more central Houston because their campus is in Spring. So they actually hosted their own Wrap and Wine event in December, which is similar to the holiday cheer event I mentioned earlier from Link, but Women's Initiative took it a step further and chose to donate books to our Out to Learn programs, which are after-school programs for students, as well as our Bright Beginnings. So they all came together and wrapped books. And then they also hear and host luncheons and hear from notable executives, female-led executives who do really interesting and inspiring things across ExxonMobil, whether it be passion projects in in different areas, including women's scholarship or women-led startups, to just how they advanced and moved through their career at somewhere like their company. So really inspiring things happening with the Women's Initiative, and we've really seen that grow and foster with the ExxonMobil's Women Professional network that they have there. So pivoting a little into Stay United. So Stay United, it's our newest initiative. And so this is actually really interesting. And I wanted to talk about Shell here because for some companies, they're wanting to continuously stay engaged with those individuals who have retired from them. They want to keep them connected in the work that they're doing, but they're also wanting to make sure that they respect the retirement that they have earned. So our newest initiative was really centered on how do we engage pre-retirees and retirees? How do we keep them united in our work, letting them know what their years of gratitude and donations have done, and letting them use their expertise that they've built up over years of working in a company and getting to share that with others. So Shell does this really well. Shell hosts actually their annual retirement luncheon. They bring in a notable United Way speaker. In the past, it's been anywhere from our board chair to our CEO, Amanda, or our CAO, Angel, or someone like that. They come in, they talk about our work, but really they get to network with retirees. They talk about what we're doing. We have pivoted virtually for some of these, but one of the really amazing things about Shell as well is that they run a retiree campaign, and Shell's retiree makes up a large portion of their company contributions each year to United Way. And they use it as a retention to make sure that they're still keeping in touch with the people who helped make their company so strong. So I really love to highlight Stay United and highlight the work and the power of incorporating and engaging your retirees. So from there, we'll talk about Leadership Circle and Impact Circle. So Leadership and Impact Circle, well, those aren't affinity groups specifically, those are giving levels of people who give. And we really heard from Leslie. I was so excited to hear from Leslie earlier today when she was talking about what Burns McDonnell does, because this is exactly what we've seen other companies do really successfully, which is if someone's making these special contribution gifts, whether it be from $2,500 all the way up higher, or whatever leadership giving is at your company, what is going to make an impact to your campaign. We've seen them host groups, whether it be special initiative-driven luncheons or one-on-ones and touch bases, whether it's mentorship opportunities. You'll see our speed mentoring event highlighted here. And a shout out to Willie. This is actually a picture of him over here at one of our Young Leaders events. But it's really about making that personal connection, getting to know who are the people at your company, but also for us to know who our donors are, who are making such a significant contribution each year, and providing them unique opportunities to both engage with your company campaign and connect with the community at large. So that effort and work is really segmented through part of our leadership giving. And then the next one is actually sort of a dual purpose. It's our Alexis de Tocqueville Society. These are a unique group of individuals at companies who can make a personal contribution of $10,000 or more. They are often people who feel committed to our work, or executives or other individuals in leadership. And we've hosted various things that really make an impact to them for Alexis de Tocqueville Society members. So some companies choose to host small engagement groups or opportunities to learn and network for these individuals. So you'll see here, there was an Alexis de Tocqueville luncheon at ExxonMobil where they got to come on campus, get to see a tour about what was happening, and bring not just retirees, but current individuals and others from the community into the office and see what ExxonMobil was doing. But then we, as United Way, also host some amazing opportunities for Alexis de Tocqueville members. So on the picture on the right, you can actually see we recently hosted a Pace Setter event featuring Secretary James Baker, who has worked with many presidents. So we actually hosted an intimate gathering for them to hear from Secretary Baker, learn from him. We've hosted in the past presidents, Barbara Bush, individuals like that. So it's a really great opportunity to not only network and connect with other individuals in the community, but also to get to see really notable speakers from throughout that. So those are some of our leadership levels, some of our affinity groups, but I wanted to talk about why it was important to engage this. So some of the benefits of engaging affinity groups, increased campaign results. We know through partnering with these ERGs and partnering with these leadership levels that the campaign results go up. There also helps with a positive corporate image. It increases the presence in our community because as we host not only company events at each of your companies, whether it's plugged into that work or people from your company come and attend events over Zoom or in person, it actually gets your company's name out there more. It helps engage and have them meet others and building some of those relationships, which we know are really great in the Houston community. And also, it builds a stronger United Way partnership. At the end of the day, so many of my team members, so many of our team members can come back and tap someone on the shoulder and say, we've seen how hard you work. We've seen how hard that you believe in our mission and our passion, and connects to that together. So as they come to these various events, as you host or connect your ERGs into the work of our affinity groups and leadership giving opportunities, is they also feel a closer connection to the work that we're doing. We make sure that when we have these events, we're spotlighting our community needs, what that group is able to individually do and the power that they have as a collective, as well as networking and building those networking and branding opportunities for your company throughout the community. So it's just one of the many ways that giving through an affinity group is affinity group or leadership level can help engage your groups. And it's also a great way if you have lower staff budget to provide to all of this, you can piggyback off some of the things that our events have, which are sponsored either by Caring Champions, which are Caring Champion sponsors, or sometimes individual donors who sponsor events. So before I turn it over to Ozzy and start answering some of the questions, I did just want to sort of drive home a point that we could use your support on as community leadership support and campaign leaders. So one of the biggest things is after you run a successful campaign, there's an opportunity that your United Way representative will give you to fill out a donor data template. We strongly encourage companies to provide these leadership donors and their information in a timely manner because it allows us the opportunity to thank those donors. If we don't receive the donor data, we may have y'all may choose in your campaign to send out an individual thank you, but it's harder for us to know who they are, to thank them properly, include them in the thank you, and also invite them to upcoming events for these ERGs and things like that. The more detailed information, the easier it is for us to plug them in and learn who they are. And we always respect the privacy of the individual and invite them to what they'd like to be invited. We don't spam, we don't sell the contact information. We really just want to thank them. We want them to know how appreciative we are for the impact that they do and the impact they make in the communities. Truly, our work is not possible without each and every individual across company campaigns and community that support our efforts. So before I opened it over to both the poll and answering some of the questions, I really just wanted to drive that point home. It's how we plug in everyone, and it's truly how we make sure that we're doing the most that we can do and the best that we can do in supporting the work. So with that, I think there's a poll time. So Amy, I'm going to lead you. She is the back-end extraordinaire at this piece as well, who's making all of this possible. So Amy, if you'll run the poll. So the question is, what affinity or leadership groups are currently part of your company campaign? Do you have some of these donors? Do you engage some of these groups in the efforts? This is multiple choice, so please feel free to answer if there are multiple opportunities. Oh, here they come. Oh, there's lots of great feedback. I'm so excited to tell you more about what we're seeing. Looks like quite a few people are engaging Women's Initiative, Young Leaders, our link, which I'm super excited for. That's how I started my career at United Way. several Alexis de Tocqueville Society, an Impact Circle, Leadership Circle. This is truly amazing just to get this feedback from y'all and hear more about this. So I'll give it just a few more seconds for people to answer and consider what all they have plugged into their campaign. All right, the poll has ended. So yeah, lots of great feedback. I'm really excited. Lots of young leaders and women's initiative. Looks like we're still working on getting that retiree portion of it. And it actually rolls in really nicely. I think, Amy, I see in the Q&A, someone had a question here about how to re-engage retirees. So this
I thought, yeah, I was going to say, we can go ahead and tag team that answer if you want to start off talking a little more about Stay United.
Yes. So the retirees, part of what Stay United was we had so many companies coming to us and they're like, once they retire, you know, they want to keep doing work, but they're not quite sure and we don't know how to plug them in. So that's why we created Stay United. So we do that by working with y'all. If y'all already have some individuals who have raised their hand and said they wanted to plug in, we can start sending them there. I know Amy will probably talk more on the back end on how they actually get some of that retiree feedback, but we do start plugging them in by telling y'all about upcoming events, some of our one-pagers, and sending them out to our company representatives. So if you have some of those retirees, and maybe we don't know their names yet, maybe we haven't found out who they are from you exactly, but we then can send you the information so you can invite them and start plugging them in. And on the back end, when we see them show up and maybe they're a retiree, I'm going to pick on Williams just because we've named them so much. But if there was a Williams retiree or a Shell retiree, we could then communicate to the company coordinator and say, hey, this retiree from Shell came. It looks like they may want to be engaged. They might have questions about how to give through their employee campaign. And we can actually start making those headways and those connections for y'all. Amy, what about you? Could you chime in a little?
Yeah, so I would say a great place to start is to check with your HR department just to see if they are still in contact with your retirees. So the best way that you can re-engage those retirees is going to be whether or not you have a channel to connect with them. Another tip I have is, you know, if you have had someone, maybe a past leader at your company who has been very engaged in past United Way campaigns, you know, if someone is still able to connect to them and see if they're interested in sort of leading the retiree efforts, and they can tap on some of their colleagues that are fellow retirees. So at ExxonMobil, who has a very large retiree campaign, it's sort of a combo approach. We're able to get the data from the HR department on who the retirees are so that we can send out a letter to them. We coordinate a luncheon to really help them feel connected to United Way. Many of these individuals have been giving to United Way their whole professional career, so it just makes sense to continue to reach out to them. So that's sort of the tips that I would give is, you know, check with some past leaders who have retired to see if they're willing to sort of be the face for a retiree initiative at your company. And then check with your HR department just to see if you have a communication channel to reach out to them. Very good question.
That is. Amy, do we have time to answer one more question?
I believe, yeah, and one just came in, Taylor, regarding, you know, what are your favorite leadership events held at a company? I know you shared a lot of example, Taylor, but are there any other favorites that you can recall?
Yes, there are a few different favorites, and the ones I chose the ones I highlighted are no means exhaustive. One of the great ones that I've heard lots of great feedback about, and that I got to attend, so this was one of those fringe benefits, but Schlumberger, as part of a overall giving groups for some of their leadership donors, held a wine tasting at a local winery, or yes, a local winery, and held this event where leadership was there. There was small groups, and they were able to go around, taste some of the great wine that was out there. And their executives had some talking points that they were going around and just making sure and seeing why they were engaged, getting to know them. But it was a very casual and fun experience to learn a little bit more about something else that a lot of people might be interested in, while also getting a chance to talk to their executives and drink a little wine. So there's nothing wrong with that. Another one that I'll highlight is a lot of our drives. And actually, I'm going to use this as my last answer before Ozzy talks, because it leads perfectly into what she's talking about. But one of the things when I started here at United Way is I got to plug in with our back to school drive that we just ended this year, but there are lots of other drives coming up. But the back to school drive was really to provide backpacks for students in our Bright Beginnings and Out to Learn section, Out to Learn after school programs. And so running a drive like that, and then we've had individuals come together, they invite different segments and groups, and some companies, they even just did it by team, and they came together, they stuffed the backpacks or prepared the materials for us. They wrote encouraging notes to the students that they were going to go to, and they just had a great time building and working on a volunteer project together. It was very light, very fun, but still making that impact. And they normally host either, whether it be a leadership individual or they have something fun like an ice cream social that goes along with it. Things like that plug in so well. It's a great way to encourage conversation, fill a need from the community, and engage teams or efforts in the work that's happening. So those are two of my favorite things to see others do, and we get a lot of positive feedback for. And our volunteer engagement team, as well as our campaign coordinators, can help come up with some of the things you might need if you wanted to run a drive at your company for various times of the year based on what the needs are. So with that, I'm actually, I think, going to roll right over to Ozzy from our volunteer engagement team. She is one of my counterparts and helps to make sure that the leadership giving groups and affinity groups are filling those needs and working with those groups. So Ozzy will tell you more about all the great things we have to offer in volunteerism.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Taylor, for that perfect segue into volunteer engagement. For those that don't already know me, my name is Ozichi Nadozie, and I'm a corporate volunteer engagement coordinator with United Way. I'm going to launch right into our corporate volunteer engagement opportunities and how you can use these to engage your employees during your corporate campaign and really, as was said before, put the fun in fundraising. So Amy, if you could just go back, perfect. So the first of these options that we have are our in-person volunteering options, and those are our most traditional and most popular. We have our community-based projects and service to go. I'm happy to report for the community-based projects, we have increased capacity for our volunteer groups. Prior to this year, as many of you know, our agencies had to kind of cut back to keep their clients safe and also keep volunteers safe. And so volunteering looked very different, but we are slowly getting back to a place of normalcy. So we're able to offer our more traditional in-person options, such as food distribution and delivery. And that will normally involve sorting and organizing food, placing it into the cars of clients in a no contact manner, and even delivering directly to the homes of clients. We also have options for facility improvement and beautification. And that's really great if you have skilled volunteers that are looking to get their hands dirty, get out and really get hands-on feel for what's happening at these agencies. And that usually will involve construction work, painting, weeding, landscaping, and just general aesthetic improvement of agency campuses. And then we do have some limited client interaction options. But as I mentioned before, the pandemic has kind of limited those. And so if you're interested, we encourage you to reach out so we can better assess what you're looking for and identify an appropriate agency. And I did mention Service to Go as well. And those are some of our really popular United Way led in-office projects where we have volunteers create client-focused kits. And if you actually look at the pictures on the right, the bottom left is one of our book buddy creation events where volunteers create a character puppet to go alongside a matching book that will then get sent off to usually a Bright Beginnings agency. And then the top right, we have a volunteer who created a gorgeous kitchen towel as a part of a welcome home kit that will get sent to one of our agencies that support families who are trying to get back on their feet, or even refugees who may have come here with little to nothing. And so that just helps them kind of begin that process of normalcy and getting back home. Next slide, please. So in addition to our traditional in-person opportunities, we also have our virtual and remote custom projects that we can set up. And this became very popular at the beginning of the pandemic. And as agencies had to kind of reel back how they allowed volunteers to interact. The first of which is Give Back Bingo, which is also one of our most popular opportunities with our corporate groups. And this is essentially a series of activities on a bingo card that encourages participation in the campaign, camaraderie amongst your employees, and also a little friendly competition. I know we mentioned that earlier, so this is another great way to get that competitive spirit going amongst departments or even between floors. The really interesting thing about the corporate Give Back Bingo card is that we can actually customize it and tailor it to your campaign. So let's say you have a barbecue or an auction that you want employees to participate in. We can actually place those events on the corporate card, and those can go towards helping employees get to the bingo point and submitting the card. We also have do-it-yourself kit creation, and that's very similar to Service to Go. The main difference being that this is more of a corporate volunteer-led activity. So we provide guidance for how to complete the activities, where to purchase supplies, and also assistance with identifying an agency where you can deliver the completed materials. We have our corporate notes of encouragement, which, similar to Give Back Bingo, can also be customized for your corporate campaign. We can set up a customized portal with your logo, and you all will be able to choose a demographic of your choice. And your employees will be able to submit brief notes that will go into the community or to the demographic of your choosing, just to show them that we support them and we care for them and we're thinking of them during this challenging time. And then we also have our virtual supply drives, which is somewhat self-explanatory. This is one of my favorite low effort but high impact opportunities. And it's especially important now as we still have some agencies that may not want volunteers mingling with clients that might be at risk or immunocompromised. This is a great way to help agencies fulfill their needs and purchase things for donation to those agencies. And unlike a traditional donation drive where you might have to pick up supplies and then drop them off at the agency, the virtual supply drive option allows you to have those items sent directly to the agency. And so it's a completely hands-free option. Next slide, please. All right, so just to continue that conversation about virtual and remote custom projects, we also have something that is a bit newer this year called our Remote Volunteering Guide. And that is similar to some of the things I mentioned before, but this is also a great way to engage people outside of your corporate campaign. Maybe you want to engage your family or your church group or your book club. This is a great way to pick a project, find the instructions, complete it, execute it, and then find an agency where you can drop off those completed materials. So there are a lot of different project options within this guide that you can use within your corporate campaign, or you can use it outside in your community and really engage your neighborhood and be a part of that do something about it mindset. Next, please. So for more resources and activities and engagement materials, we definitely encourage you to visit our website at unitedwayhouston.org, where we have different downloadable materials that you can use for your campaign to engage your employees and also even engage those outside of your campaign that might be interested. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight some really successful Day of Caring campaigns that we recently helped to wrap up. And I know we talked a little bit about the work that Amegy Bank does and the very robust system that they have when it comes to building and executing a campaign. And so Amegy Bank recently completed a series of remote do-it-yourself projects. And at the time that they were completing this, the most of the agencies that we were working with had completely shuttered 2 in-person volunteering events for concerns for safety. And despite all of this, Amegy Bank was able to galvanize 56 volunteers, and they made well over 1,000 kits. And so that was a mixture of snack packs for children and breakfast bags for seniors. And we were able to distribute these kits between 3 different agencies that we support. So that was an incredibly impactful project that they were able to accomplish. I also wanted to highlight Technip FMC. So Technip opted to complete a sort of hybrid model, and they had a mixture of in-person projects, in-office projects, as well as some remote event projects as well. And that kind of happened over the course of a few weeks. And another interesting and really impactful thing that they have set up within their company is their program called Donation for Doers, in which they provide a $250 volunteer grant match per volunteer that comes out and participates. And this is in addition to their campaign contribution. And so as you can imagine, it's exponentially impactful, not just to United Way, but to all of the agencies that we serve and the clients that they help to support and thrive. All right, so I've talked a little bit about customizable opportunities for your campaign, how to engage your corporate employees and really put that fun back in fundraising. In addition to our Day of Caring events and our corporate customized activities, we also have our ongoing United Way community events that run throughout the year. The first of which is that Community Give Back Bingo. And very similar to the Corporate Give Back Bingo, this is a series of volunteer opportunities and educational activities that really tie in all of the work that we do at United Way. The only difference is that this will not be a customized card. It's already pre-populated, but just as exciting and just as engaging. We also have our community virtual notes of encouragement, and those notes go to a combination of healthcare workers, essential workers from various fields, as well as our homebound seniors that may not be able to mingle and interact with people as much because of health concerns. And so we want to make sure that we touch on all of those groups from a community standpoint. And then some of you might remember we had our Day of Action last year, which was very popular and very successful. We will be repeating that again this year on October 9th. We've partnered with the Houston Food Bank as they continue to tackle food insecurity in the Houston community. And so we should have some general details already posted on the community calendar. Come September the 1st, we will be providing more specific details for how you can participate and help us do something about it within the Houston community. So just to wrap up that quick mention for our community events, if you're interested in getting to know more about how to engage from a community level, in addition to your Day of Caring events, we definitely encourage you to check out our community calendar on the website, where we regularly post individual opportunities, group community events, and more exciting things that United Way is doing. And you can find that at our website, which is unitedwayhouston.org/about/volunteers. And so this concludes the volunteer engagement segment of the presentation. I want to thank you all once again for taking time out of your day to attend the Campaign Leaders Conference and listen to all of this information we've provided for you. We do have a poll coming up here in seconds, I believe. Awesome. And so we are curious to know, how do you plan to engage your corporate volunteers this year? We've got some different options for you, and this will really help us help you make your campaign more engaging and better assess the needs that your employees have and what you all are interested in seeing. So I'm excited to see those results. I can't see the results on my end, but Amy or Taylor, maybe you all can see what's coming in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and chime in here. We have just a couple seconds before it ends, but it looks like virtual remote projects are leading the way, but a lot of people are interested in multiple types of projects, whether be in-person projects at your office or in-person projects at community sites. I think actually less than 10% said they didn't have a plan for projects right now. So most everyone was leaning towards either multiple ways of this or promoting the United Way community projects. So that was a really great shout out to talk about that.
That's awesome. And to the results of this poll, and just to kind of tie that in, you can definitely combine your in-person volunteer opportunities with the virtual or remote option and kind of do a hybrid similar to what Technique FMC did, or you can focus exclusively on virtual or in person. There's so many ways to mix and match these options to really engage your employees and maximize the impact that your campaign is having. So I'm excited to get that feedback and help you all plan some fun stuff.
And so Ozzy, I know we have a couple minutes left, but do you mind answering a couple questions that came in the chat? Perfect. So someone wanted to know, on average, what is an in-person volunteer project? How long do they last and how does that work?
So it really depends. If you're going to, let's say, a food fair, that can run anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. The more hands-on nitty-gritty projects, such as construction work or landscaping, we usually recommend allotting about half a day or a full day, just so you have enough time to talk about the impact of the project, prepare, get to work, and then give some time to kind of cool down and clean up and wrap up. Some groups may even opt to have 2 groups. And so you might have a morning group come in, then they'll break for lunch. And then after, you'll have an afternoon/early evening group come in. Hopefully that answers that question.
It does. Thank you so much. And then last question, I'm going to answer one in the chat, but the other one was, can companies sign up for more than one of the volunteer projects that we offer in the community?
You absolutely can. And we actually encourage you to sign up for as many as you possibly can. So yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ozzy. I think that's all the questions we're going to answer right now. So Amy, take it away.
Great. Well, I really just want to thank everyone for participating today. I hope you took away some gems that you can bring back to your corporate campaign. I know in the previous section, someone had asked when the United Way campaign is kicking off, when can we get started? And I love that question because the answer is now. In fact, we've had some companies already kick off their campaigns and wrap it up. So we really can facilitate a workplace campaign at any point during the year. So please do not feel held back at all. So if you're ready to get things started at your company, we are happy to help you along that journey. So with that, again, I just want to thank you for tuning in. I will make mention that we will be posting the presentation to our website. So we will have the recording from this session and also the slides available with the links embedded. So thank you so much for your questions and your engagement. Thank you so much to Amanda and Angel, all of our panelists for leading the way today. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks, everyone.